Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. This is Sharon from Mad Paper Crush. Today we're going to be making some fabric washi tape. And I know that there's a ton of tutorials on how to do this. So this tutorial is going to be very quick, real fast, but we are going to make frayed edge fabric washi tape. And I just love the way this looks. It gives it a shabby, vintage kind of feel to your fabrics. And I think this will look great when we start to use it on some of our projects. So we're going to make this frayed edge fabric washi tape, simple. And then after that, I'm going to give you some ideas on how to use your fabric washi tape. That was the one thing I was really looking for as I was trying to start using some fabric washi tape, was finding some inspiration of different ways to use it to make it look great on my projects. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, the supplies that we're going to need for this project include strips of fabric or scraps of fabric torn to get you a frayed edge at whatever size you like. If you're working on something specific, you might want to wait to do the tearing until you've kind of measured things. But you can also just have some fabric strips lying around, which I have here, and those can be used for lots of things too. So we have those. We have scissors that are your, kind of your gummy scissors that you can use to cut things that are sticky. And then double-sided carpet tape. So this is actually carpet tape that I got off of Amazon. It's 2 inches wide, and I'll have a link down below to my favorites page so that you can see what specific kinds that I got. This is also another kind of double-sided tape. Now this one is actually made for paper and crafting. It's Miss Sparkle and Company. And both of them are relatively forgiving and also very sticky, which is good. So, and this is obviously, smaller than this. So depending on what size, you can cut this down, but it's going to get your scissors sticky if you do that. So just be aware of that. And that is all we need to get started. Okay, so if you've never torn fabric before, I just wanted to go through that real quick. Cotton fabric tears the best. You can try other fabrics to see, but cotton usually does very well. And that's what I have here. So all you do is whatever, measurement you want your fabric to be. So I'm just going to take off this little border edge of the end of the fabric. All you do is you do a very small cut right where you want to start your tear from, and then you pull hard on both sides and give it a tear. And you can see sometimes the threads, gather up, but you can just flatten that out real easily. And if you don't have a side, so like this side wasn't torn, I believe this side was cut. You can, if you want it this exact size and you would like it frayed, you can just start pulling some of the threads off of the side, and it'll give you the start of a frayed edge there. So you can see I've pulled maybe 4 or 5 rows of threads out of there, and it's given me that torn look that I want. And if it's not frayed enough, you just kind of use your fingers and pull it, rough it up a little, and it'll give you a nice frayed edge there. So this is the pieces that I'm going to start with. And let's see. I'm going to use my smaller one first and show you that first. Now, a lot of the fabric washi tape tutorials that I saw, they just laid it down on the fabric and then used a rotary cutter or scissors to cut it. But I really wanted to have a frayed edge. I like the kind of shabby look of that. So that's why I wanted to do it this way. So to make the tape, then you just have to do it a little bit differently. And once you get going, it's really easy. And all I do is I turn the tape over, or I'm sorry, turn the fabric over onto the, so the back side is facing up. And then I take my tape and I just start it at one end and try to make sure I'm in the middle. And I go all the way to the other end. And before I push down the end, I just kind of fold it back maybe 1/4 of an inch and hold it there while I give this a cut. Now, the other thing that I like about my fabric washi is that sometimes there's leftover edges, And I like the way that looks when you put it down on your projects, because then it, it kind of looks like it's not really stuck down. So I kind of like that look as well. Now, the other thing that I like to do, and you don't need a bone folder to do this, but a bone folder makes it easier, is just burnish it down a little bit to make sure that the first side of the sticky is very well intact. So I kind of do that, and it also kind of helps make the paper easier to come off when you're ready to put it down on something. So that is it. Simple. So I was just going to do a couple of other ones because I wanted to show you the big tape, the 2-inch tape as well. So when you're cutting, obviously it's easiest if you want to do shapes and sizes that match this or are close to the size of tapes that you're using. So like for this one, even though like if I was doing it with my 1-inch, I would do it long like this. Since I'm going to use the 2-inch, I'll do it wide. So I will go like this with my wrong side up and just put a little piece of this tape on there. But I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to gently fold back that edge just a little bit and hold it down while I cut off my tape. And hopefully I got it at the right spot there. Look at that. There we go. And I'll just give it a little burnish too. The actual carpet tape is much thicker than this tape, but they seem to both hold very well on paper if that's what you're sticking it down to. So, it's easy that way. Okay, last thing before we go on to different ways to use our fabric washi tape once we have it is, I was just going to show you how I do a piece of fabric washi on a big piece of tape that I have to cut down. So, I mean, obviously I could do this one on here and it would work just fine. And I could probably do it this way too and have it work just fine. But I just wanted to show you in case you had sort of an odd piece that you needed to cut down, what you can do. So I'm kind of going to do this the same way. I'm going to put my fabric down and I'm going to put my carpet tape onto the fabric just like I would. And I've just pressed it kind of in the middle because I'm going to have to trim this down. And because I don't want to cut off my frayed edges, I'm just going to do the same thing. I haven't really burnished it, so it should be fairly easy to pull back. And I'm going to cut this all the way off here just to make it easier to manage. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to pull this side back and just hang on to that. And then trim this down so that our fabric washi then is just like that. And obviously I have another piece that I could use here for another piece of fabric, which I'm going to do right now because this is going to stick to my finger the whole time if I don't do that. So I'm just trying to get these threads out of the way, and then I'm just going to put this one down. We'll see if this fits okay. I think it'll fit all right. It's a little bit big, so I could trim that down if I wanted to too here. If I can pull that back without pulling out all my threads. Oh, it's going to pull out some threads. Oh, there we go. So I'm just pulling that back a little bit, and I'm just going to trim just a teeny bit off. And then we have another piece here. And of course that piece is sticking to my finger as well. And there you have it. So it's relatively simple. I love the way they look. So now let's talk about what you can do with them, because that was the thing that I was loving making them, but then I was like, well, what am I going to use these for? I mean, obviously to decorate my journals, but I kind of needed some, inspiration to really get going. So I'm going to give you a couple of ideas and hopefully you'll use them in your journals as well. All right, let's talk about some of the ways you can use this washi in your journals for things. I love the way it adds texture and it has some shabbiness to it to really give it that junk journal feel. So the first idea that I had was to use it on pockets. So I have a pocket here, just a book page pocket, and I used some fabric washi as decoration and put a label on top. So this can also help give some weight to the front of your pocket, so that if you have a book page like me and tags are going in and out, this will add a little sturdiness to it. Plus it looks really nice on the pocket. The second idea that I had was to use it on your book pages just as decoration. So down the side of a book page to give it some nice decoration, I think would be awesome. I love the way this looks here. This was a pretty plain page before next to my little dictionary page, and I could even add some labels or some brads or even you know, other embellishments here to it to really dress it up a little bit. But it's beautiful, it feels nice, and it's ready to go when I want to do something to it. The next idea I had was to make a tip-in. So if you're not familiar with tip-ins, it's just basically a page that tips out of your book. So all I did was take just it's about the 1-inch tape that I used to make this strip of washi tape, this fabric washi tape, and then I just put it down and put both sides of my page on it. So I have this nice tip-in now for my journal, and I love the way that looks as well. The next idea I had for washi tape was to make a fabric belly band. So what I did was, I'll show you in a picture here, I put tape on the top and the bottom. And I pulled it real tight. So now I have this great little belly band here that's got some fabric and texture to it. What about this? You could make some fabric washi tape to back your book plates. So I still need to put a name tag in here, but I love the way that looks. And this was actually just a piece of muslin that I did some stenciling on, and then I tore it up and made a nice little back book plate for that. Some real simple things that you could do is you could, if you have an envelope, you could decorate the flaps of your envelope with some fabric washi there, and this would also give it some weight for you to put some other decoration on. You could also use it to decorate journal cards, note cards, tags. You can see here I have a little piece of square fabric washi tape behind my label here on this note card. Then you can also, oh, I love this idea. You can take your fabric washi tape and wrap paper clips to make these beautiful charms and dangles that you can place into your books, on your pages, on your covers, on tassels. And it was so easy because the tape just sticks to itself real nice there. So I love that idea. You can also do, I just took a piece of the washi tape and folded it onto itself so it's sticking to itself. And then I added a garment pin with a little gear there. This would look great in a steampunk journal, I think, something like that. But you don't even have to stick it to anything. You can fold it over and stick it to itself, and it gives you a nice little embellishment there for a page or a tassel. And then the very last idea I had was to take your fabric washi tape and stamp on it. So I put Create on here, and I'm going to add it to my Junk Journal July notebook. So I'm just going to hopefully remove the paper, and sometimes it's a little sticky to get going, or it's a little hard to get going to get the paper off, and just the paper off. There we go. So now I took the paper off, and you can see it's real sticky here, and then I'm just going to place that right where I want it and give it a press down, and it adds a lovely decoration to your journals. I hope you like this video. I hope I gave you some good ideas to use some fabric washi tape in your journals. Add some texture to those pages. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. All the links to the things that I was talking about are down below, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye-bye. I'm not recording.